Good evening. Tonight I have Lagunitas Censored Rich Copper Ale. So I had to, I verified that this was in fact under the American Red Ale category online, and I found that it's censored because apparently its real name is Kronik, Kronik, and that got censored because they said it was marijuana related. So now it's Lagunitas Censored Rich Copper Ale. This has a lot of good reviews online in general, so I'm looking forward to sharing this with you this evening. So the Red Copper Ale, this is an American, amber ale, is BJCP category 10B. And of course, as many things are done in American categories, we're going to get a lot of rich malty caramel out of this, but then some hops as well. So, aroma. Mm. You know, I think copper is a good name for this because it really has an almost kind of metallic smell to it, which is interesting. I get a little bit of hops out of this first, some nice hop bitterness, but kind of like I want to say a florally hops, and then some malty characteristics. So color wise, it's not as amber as I was expecting it to be. It's kind of like a copper, and I guess that's why its name is copper. A copper brown, slightly tinged red ale, mostly brown, but it poured with an okay head. It didn't retain much, but these glasses are pretty tiny. It looks like it's just mildly carbonated. Flavor. Has it has a pretty intense malt flavor to it. Lots of sweetness from the malts, but it has a real kind of crisp, bitter finish. We really expect that out of these American varietals, but it's really done very nicely. It's a very intense beer, but very well balanced, very drinkable. It's actually, I think, probably, I don't know if I want to say if it's one of my most favorite beers, but it's on my favorite beers list. Very good. I think it has a nice full body to it, and it's not super carbonated. And I kind of like that combination where it's a full-bodied beer with nice caramel maltiness and light carbonation. To me, that's incredibly drinkable. I think it's amazing. Um, great beer with some hoppiness to it. I think it's 6.9. I meant to look. 6.7% alcohol by volume, and an IBU rating of 35. Um, so, actually, as a matter of fact, this is interesting. The American Amber Ale category has the IBUs. Oh, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Okay, the IBUs are 25 to 40. I was thinking it was outside of the IBU range, but. And then at 6.7% alcohol, it does exceed the range for alcohol. The alcohol range for this particular category is 4.5 to 6.2. And as a matter of fact, it's even listed as a commercial example. So I guess they were not faulted for having a smidge more alcohol than that is characteristic for this particular style. Mouthfeel wise, we already covered that. Let's see. It kind of has a little of an alcohol warmth to it, which is interesting. It's at 6.7%. I usually don't expect to get that. But overall impression, very drinkable. I think it's very well balanced between the hops and the malt characteristics. Makes it very drinkable. And just enough hot bitterness to kind of dry out, make your mouth drool a little bit, make you want another drink. History for this particular style, often just known as a red ale instead of an amber ale in a lot of regions. These beers were popularized in the hop-loving Northern California and Pacific Northwest before spreading nationwide. So as far as color, it can overlap with pale ales. However, amber ales differ from American pale ales, not only being darker in color, but also having more caramel flavor, more body, and usually being balanced more evenly between malt and bitterness. So a pale ale is going to be very pale in color, and have very little, kind of has a sweetness to it, but very little like malt backbone to it. There's definitely a lot of hops going on in that variety. So this is a little bit more balanced approach, which kind of explains why I like it better. Um, so very good. Very good, very distinct drink. I really love amber ales. It's my favorite, probably one of my most favorite categories. And I didn't realize that Lagunitas was on the commercial examples. So other examples are North Coast Red Seal Ale, which is great to shoot cinder cone, which I'd like to try. Pyramid Broken Rick, which I know I've had before, but I can't recall. Anderson Valley Boot Amber, which is a great beer. Avery Red Point, which is a great beer. Mendocino Red Tail, which is a great beer. Lots of great beers in this category. So if you haven't had a chance to give them a try, I definitely recommend it. If you have had Lagunitas, the Censored Red Copper Ale, I would love to hear down below how you thought about it. I feel like sometimes their beers are very hop centric, and so it's nice when you have something that has such a wildly different flavor approach from a really great beer maker. So share with me your opinions of this particular beer if you've had it before. I would love to hear. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good night.